What's up, dog fans? As most of you have heard by now, Richard LeCount, one of our safeties, was involved in a motorcycle accident last night in Athens after the team returned back from the Kentucky game. Richard supposedly has some injuries that is requiring him to remain hospitalized for the time being, in stable condition, of course, per the media and his family. He might have a concussion, cracked, bruised ribs, an injured shoulder. No matter what's going on with him, I'd just like everybody to say a prayer or take a breath for whatever you get down with for Richard and his family, and wish him specifically a speedy recovery. Offer any support you can to the family, and hope we can get that young man healed up quickly. He had a great game yesterday. 13 tackles, I think 2 or 3 pass breakups, recovered a fumble. So he was his usual self on the field, leading by example, and we wish him well in his recovery. As far as injuries go in the game, we knew already that we had Pickens out and McIntosh on the offense. On the defense, I didn't see Tyreek Stevenson in the game in the first half. In the second half, he came in. I saw he had some type of sleeve brace on one of his elbows, and he was involved in a bang-bang play, whereas Richard actually made the tackle. When he came in, he struck the receiver or running back, I forgot which one it was, pretty hard, and Tyreek had to go back out of the game, and as he was walking off the field, we could see him shaking his head as if maybe he got hit in the head, or maybe a neck, or maybe a stinger type injury. Not really sure, so I hope he's okay. But I know we had Quay Walker go down. We had Adam Anderson got banged up some. Jordan Davis, Julian Rochester, just to name a few. So we know that we're going to have some injuries going into this Florida game. On the offense, the only one that I saw or heard or noted during the telecast was Ben Cleveland on the offensive line. So those injuries may play a part in or play a role in how we as being the football team, addresses the Florida game. If you didn't already know, Florida was involved in a altercation, fight, skirmish, whatever you want to call it, at halftime with Missouri. There's going to be some players suspended for at least the first half of this upcoming game with the Dogs. The SEC will review that film on Monday, and I guess they're going to determine who all was involved, and they'll probably find more than was initially identified during the game, and were actually not allowed to play or thrown out of the game, ejected for the second half. I think it was a couple of defensive players, maybe 2 or 3 total, but there may be more. As far as the game goes with Kentucky, it is what it is. 14-3, it's a win. You know, back in the day, it was like a win 14-3. Any win was great. But we fans have just come to expect more from the Dogs, and more by being that with the talent level that we have and the recruiting that Coach Smart and his staff have done, we just expect more out of this offense, and we just can't. You can't figure it out. You can't. You just can't explain or just seem to identify what's going on with this quarterback position. We only threw 13, 14 passes yesterday. Now, we were pretty run heavy because of what Kentucky allegedly was giving us. That's what the coaches tell us at the press conference, or Coach Smart does. And so we relied heavily on the run. Zamir White had a great game, 135, 136 yards yesterday rushing, 120-something yard run. But, you know, for him to get those yards, we know that he's a tough runner, but the offensive line also has to block. And they blocked well yesterday. They really did. As far as the passes go, I'm not going to break down each possession. We had 8 possessions. 8 possessions total in the entire game. 4 in the first half, 4 in the second half. The one possession right at the end of the half, we threw like 3 passes. One was a jump ball. We thought Darnell might have caught it in the end zone, but he picked it up off of a rebound off the ground. There was a penalty, so we had to replay the down. We actually kicked a field goal, or attempted to kick a field goal, and it was partially blocked. What happened was the snap was bobbled by the holder, and the kick was just terrible. It was just a terrible way to end the half. Of course, we did get the one score with in the first half on the first possession, and didn't score again to the second half. As far as the passes go, a lot of short passes again, a couple flare out passes to the flats, a couple short intermediate passes, nothing super long. If there was a long pass charted, it was because the receiver or running back ran extra yards. Cook, one of the ones was to Cook. Another pass was to Darnell. The only pass note that we saw that was to a tight end. So it still looks like we're underutilizing our tight ends in the passing game. We know what McKitty can do. Fitzgerald has shown some promise. Darnell has got, the sky's the limit with him. He was throwing a lob ball. And when I say lob, let me just say something. When Stetson was interviewed after the game, his answer to one of the reporters for the ball that was batted and intercepted, Stetson specifically said he should have lofted the ball more. Well, if you look at some of the passes, it did look as if he was lofting the ball. It wasn't thrown on a rope. It wasn't a dart. The first pass of the game he threw to Jermaine Burton over the middle in the second series, it was super high. Burton was covered, but he could have caught the ball. The ball was, the defensive back was a little behind him, and the ball was just out of reach. It was just thrown too high, and it was out of reach. So there's just something going on here with Stetson. There's something going on with the passing game. I don't know that if it's all Monken. You just have no way of knowing as a fan on what's going on. Is Coach Smart directing this specific plan of attack with the run and limited passes because of Stetson? Or is it Monken just saying, look, that's all we've got. It's the only thing we can do. And so we're just going to run it or attempting to run it. We just don't understand. The whole thing doesn't make sense. I'm not on here I told you before, I'm not going to bash Stetson. But I will say this, if Stetson Bennett is the quarterback that we have that gives us the best chance to win, then something's wrong. I don't know what's going on with Dawgs Mathis, why he was allowed to start in Arkansas and never get back in a meaningful snaps in a game. It just doesn't make sense. Carson Beck, we had Aaron Murray who was allowed to attend one of these scrimmages pre-start to the season, and Murray claims that Beck looked the best out there of all the quarterbacks that he saw. And we know JT, sky's the limit with JT also. We assuming that he is still nursing some type of injury, but that's left to be seen too. We just don't know. One other note, I found something on the internet today. I follow a guy that puts out some pretty good content on UGA, and he claimed at the time that Dawgs Mathis had deleted all of his Instagram posts on his Instagram page or his account that in regards to UGA or anything related to UGA. So I immediately went and looked because I followed Dawgs, as I do a lot of the players, and everything is wiped clean. His account's still there, but there's no pictures of UGA, nothing of him in a UGA uniform. Is there anything to that? I hope not. But if there is something to it and he's planning on packing his bags, I wouldn't be a bit surprised. I watched a game on television, like a lot of you all did. When the cameras would cut and pan to Dawgs, it was just head shaking. He had no involvement in the game whatsoever. They didn't have him stand on the sidelines with a clipboard. He didn't have some headphones on listening to the discussion with Monken or the play or anything that was being talked to with Stetson. And I'm not saying that was a fault of his. I'm just saying there was nothing there. And it was just really, it was really baffling. It really was. It looked like he had no involvement whatsoever. And if he's the backup, you would have thought there would have been more interaction with him and the coaches and the play calling and Stetson and whatever, just to keep him involved, just to keep him fresh. So something's not just quite right with that situation. It's going to continue to be that way until we see more of these quarterbacks and to see just exactly what's going on. I was going to wait until next Sunday, to post another video. But I think with this ongoing situation with all of these injuries we have, with the situation with Florida and the SEC review that's going to take place on Monday, as far as who's going to play, who's not going to play, I think I may put out another video on Wednesday. So check back here and see what's going on, what's posted. If you like this video, you like the content, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, notifications so you can see when I do post videos. But I'll try to keep you informed. But for this week, I'm going to count on Wednesday, maybe Wednesday evening, and Sunday, of course, after the Georgia-Florida game. One other note, it's election week. Tuesday is the election. We may not know Tuesday night who the victor was, but if you haven't done so already, get out and vote. Make your voice be heard. This is an important year. I heard tonight there's a record number of pre-voting, this early voting, absentee ballots, drive-through voting, all kind of stuff I've heard. So make sure you get out and make your voice be heard. Peace.